pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Move.
Thanks, Aaron. Second, Joel. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Public communications? None. Conflicts disclosure? None. Motion to approve the minutes of our regular board meeting of September 12th. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Marty. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the financial statements.
So moved.
Thanks, Joel. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Aaron. All in favor, say aye. Or discussion, excuse me, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the claims.
Move.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Marty. Discussion.
I don't know, he's not here.
Yeah.
Is there a bus window repair?
There was.
Yes.
Just seemed odd.
The reason behind that, they are kind of expensive windows, and as I understand it, some of them, they won't latch properly, and so then they'll stay down all the time. It's a safety issue, so we had, I believe it was Kevin Gilmore purchased the windows and replaced them for it.
It was on our bus.
It was on our mid bus.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was my
The small
question.
bus.
Like a front window or?
It's one of the side windows, and there's actually I think the seal is bad on the inside, so you can't really see through it. There's one in the office. If you exit today of the office, you'll see the part that's on the floor against the wall.
Yeah, I was just curious.
When we contract with
busing, are we fixing windows?
E-rate consulting fees? Do you know what that was?
Yes, we have a person. Her name is Krista Adio. She used to work for ITC like 15 years ago. She's the one that started doing E-rate applications for schools. They're very similar to somebody doing title applications for us. We pay somebody to write our consolidated app, and most schools do that. She's been doing that for us for many years. She had to delay the request for her stipend due to some deadline dates or some delayed dates, and so this is a little bit later than it normally is. Laura and I discussed it. I don't know a lot about it, but we receive like $40,000+ in E-rate amounts, and I think her fee is $3,800 or something.
Right.
Something like that.
3,000.
3,000.
3,084. Okay.
And we have all of the communication documentation that just goes with the file, so if there's any questions, stop and ask for it.
What was the intercom and sound system? Was that upgrading all of our?
Yes, and that was, we used ESSER funds for that.
Okay.
It's the new speaker systems in all the classrooms. Not all of them have it. At the 3 classrooms to the south here that will become office space, we did put new speakers in there. The speaker systems in the classroom, minimally they have 4 speakers for each classroom. This one's obviously going to have more, or maybe it does. I think those are more speakers there. And they will actually be tied to the intercom system, as well as the microphones. We have teachers using wireless microphones already. In fact, that's our expectation, is that there's really not a debate on that. You should be using them. Mainly they're meant to help for kids who are hearing impaired, but research is showing that if you use them for everybody in all classrooms, you actually see some positive responses and reactions. So the ultimate situation is we will actually be able to alert the office through the microphone, so a teacher won't have to run over and grab a button or touch a button. So it's going to be an all-inclusive system when it's completely installed.
Sure.
That will be a while yet. We do have the speakers in most of the classrooms up and functioning, but it'll be a while before everything's up and running.
So the reason that's not a capital outlay expense is because we're using lesser funds?
Yes, yeah.
So that's not the sound system for the Army?
That is not the Army sound system.
Okay. We have that still hopefully on board?
That, we're just at the mercy of the material, of the supplies and equipment.
So we are trying to get that for graduation next year. I want everybody to know that the message was received after graduation, and we have been ordering that. We've been looking for that, so when I saw it pop up on the claims, I'm like, oh, good. Our sound system came, we can replace it at the Armory, but we hope to have it here by graduation, as soon as possible.
We'll get it installed as soon as we can, and I would hope that it's long before graduation. But there's just not a guarantee.
We ordered it in June, right?
At least then, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions on claims?
Does the busing usually go up that much during the school year for the month?
This month, I think, is a little higher than normal, and part of it might be due to we have an increased travel schedule with volleyball than normal. We're a little imbalanced with our volleyball schedule. We have more away games this year than home games, and then next year it'll be the reverse. I'd like to say we'd see a significant decline in our travel next September. I hope we do, but yes, you do see an increase based on activities. That's what most of the increase is.
Think about last night we were in Dewbrook, tonight we're in Langford, Thursday we're in Redfield. That's a lot of traveling just with the volleyball team, let alone then you have the football team was in Aberdeen last night, correct, JV?
Mm-hmm.
Then combine it with robotics is coming up more in Brookings. I mean,
There's some field trips that happen in the fall.
Yeah, we had a field trip to Sioux Falls with 5th grade. So that was on there.
Yeah.
all right, any other comments on claims? All in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the snow removal bid as accepted.
So moved.
Thank you, Aaron. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Marty. Discussion.
I got a couple things on this. I think we need to look at possibly having more outside help with the snow removal on our sidewalks and our stairs. And, you know, we're hiring, in my opinion, when we're hiring somebody to come in and do something, it should make us operate more efficiently. It should make, you know, things better for our staff. And so I wonder if we need to go back and ask for some other line items that would include clearing the sidewalks, clearing the steps.
So currently he doesn't do that, someone else does?
We do all the labor intensive work out to the street, and then he comes in and he takes it away from there. So Aaron, I really believe that we at least need to look at getting some additional pricing to his quote. And for that matter, if anybody else wants to quote just that handwork, we could.
That's the problem, when you only got
One bid.
That's kind of a load for your staff too, doing that.
It has been. for
It's a huge
years.
load. And let's face it, it's hard to keep.
Of course, we get rid of some steps, that'll help.
It will help.
It will, but that's still I spent a lot of time shoveling snow with my kids in the morning for the last few years, and the school has a lot of square footage. I mean, and we're having a hard time hanging on to custodial staff, and I don't think our custodial staff is necessarily all young men anymore like it used to be 30 to 40 years ago.
And I want to be clear, I'm not saying that our current contractor does a bad job.
Right.
And I'm not saying we shouldn't accept this quote at this time, but I think we should ask for more. And then maybe we open it up and ask for another quote for sidewalk snow removal or something like that.
I like the idea.
I mean, we're the ones with the checkbook here, and we're asking for a service to be provided to us. I think we should get what we need or want.
In the event of heavy snow, have an on-call,
Yep.
you know, someone.
What we currently do right now is our custodians will come in earlier. I try to make the calls the night before. If I don't, I try to make them early enough where they know if they need to do snow removal when there's a cancellation. But if there's not a cancellation, they still get in here early. Cleaning off those steps, which you've heard me kind of frustrated with those steps since 2005, and the south steps and the steps, and they're all going to be gone, so that will help. But we typically have one of our custodians that runs the machine on the north side sidewalk, the east side, and then usually goes through the sidewalk of the parking lot. Again, that won't be a situation this year because the parking lot's not there. And then the other two custodians here at the K-12 facility are cleaning out entrances. They're getting the snow away from the door, and then the rest is going. And then we have a contractor come in and clear out the parking lots. And, you know, in the parking lot here, there was no curb, so they were able to blade most of the sidewalks too. Doesn't get as bladed as well as you would snow blow it because it's a little bit. So that's been our method for many, many years. And then the armory custodian takes care of all the sidewalks down there. Occasionally, if there's a heavier snow, he would probably come up to help. They have to come in early, so then we have to shift things. We do end up seeing them build a little bit of comp time with snow days. Not always, but in some cases we do because they come in a little bit earlier.
Well, I guess the way I look at it is, why don't we see what we get? I mean, hopefully we can get till November, our next board meeting, without having to have a stupid snowstorm, but why don't we rebid it and just see what we can do? Why don't we try to put together some more specs that alleviate the burden on the staff with removing snow and see what we could get for potential contracting options.
The current, when we asked for a bid, was it just to remove the street snow, or do you?
I'm sorry, I can't really address the wording. I don't know what it looked like in the newspaper. I think it's pretty general statement, snow.
I think it's just pretty general, snow removal, and Blake,
See, it was always.
the bid that we have does a pretty good job of itemizing out the things that he's quoting. I just would like to see more.
It was always piling in the parking lot and hauling it out, which
He does remove it?
When
I
requested,
agreed, yeah.
we don't have it done. We don't have removal every single snowstorm when it gets accumulated or large storms.
Well, we know it's gonna change in steps and, you know, the actual shovel with custodial probably, mechanized equipment's probably gonna handle a lot of it in a year from now.
I wonder if we should first ask the person who submitted a quote if they do the more fine-tuned sidewalk stuff, if that's part of the operation. I would assume it is, but it may
Yeah.
not be. And then if that's not part of his normal operations, then we may have to look at something separate. And the question that I would ask you is, where are you guys at with it when you say something separate? What are we looking at for, I mean, that might be a question you ask me.
I guess in my mind, if there was just another line item in there for sidewalk snow removal, that you can use at your discretion, because they're providing us, a service. I think we should have the discretion as to when we want to use it.
Kind of like what Larry said, you know, if we got the little dusty in the half inch, we're not so worried about getting them out there and doing it. But when we got the foot plus, maybe that, and it's a heavy snow, maybe that is something that would be nice that you could at least fall back on to give them a heads up that they need to do it as needed.
So I think I would make a motion to table this bid, excuse me, and just let Dr. Block get some clarifications or additions. Is that?
That's fair. What do you think, Larry?
I guess I don't wanna table it, just in the event it does snow.
Well, but you know, if it does snow, realistically, the main part they're providing right now is the removal. I mean,
It is
we've got-
still 2022, so his old bid would still count, wouldn't it?
well, even if it didn't, I mean, the chances are,
Well,
I'm not gonna curse us, but I can't imagine we're gonna have the snow pile
Oh, no.
where we gotta remove snow. And you know what, if we got a snow pile where we gotta remove snow, Let's have Webster Scale that's got trucks over there say, hey, yeah,
Yeah,
we're
parking
moving snow
lots.
as part of our JDH bid, you know?
I would like to remind you that on today, October 11th, 2019,
We did have.
Yes, we had a snow day. I was just gonna bring that
Well,
up.
how are you supposed to know that?
because I was working on an interstate that had that traffic, never forget.
All right, so you want to table it, you want to move forward, what do you want to do, Marty?
Well, I'm looking at it, you're saying like on a per call basis if we need it.
As needed?
I guess I'd rather not table it and see if we can get him to do more, see what his thoughts are on if he do the sidewalks. And then if he says no to that, then we gotta, search out the bids.
Yeah, see, then we got to approve it though, I mean, it's either approve or really, I mean, either we're approving or we're not approving. If we approve and he says, don't do it, this is our bid. This is what we're going for, in my opinion.
We can
Yes.
advertise for that line item like you suggested, as a separate, if you really.
I think you're gonna have a hard time finding somebody that just removes snow.
Be included in it.
I think that's,
Has this ever been explored before?
I mean, there's not, I mean, I know that people are having a hard time finding somebody just to shovel a sidewalk on Main Street. I'd feel more comfortable just tabling it for 1 month. That's where I'm at. Aaron, where are you at? All right, let's go ahead and, we've got 3 of us with the table, 2 to move forward. We'll just table it. Jim, and you know what, worst case scenario, if we see a snowstorm's coming, we'll get together again.
Yeah, we can have a special meeting.
We'll have a special meeting. But
Bring your shovel.
that's right. I'll bring my shovel. There you go.
Very good,
Larry,
Larry.
that's fair. That's fair. Amanda, you bring your shovel too, okay? You know what's better? Why don't you send John down with his shovel? Put that on there, since he works for you, just say, John, get on down and report down to school with your shovel and help out today. All right. Motion to approve open enrollment app number 2315.
So,
Thank you, Joel. Second, Marty, all discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve temporary salaries. So moved. Thank you, Marty. Second?
second.
Thank you, Joel. Discussion?
I have a question on Mrs. Block's. Is it my understanding that yours, I mean, it's, to get paid for summer hours, I expect that. But was it at one time rolled into the salary, and are we now doubling up on that?
In my opinion on that, and this is where we'd have Lori, because naturally it puts people in conflict sometimes, but no, I don't think that is rolled into the salary. We have additional hours that we have come in. We've had this issue in the past with this increase in computer equipment and everything that comes in during the summer. We do have additional hours that we have come in that are not as part of the contract.
Yep, and I understand that, but I was informed that a few years back, the board decided to just lump that into the salary. So then you didn't have to approve this every year, was that not?
Did we not use the hours worked and then pay after the fact, or now this is before the fact?
The process now is whatever hours are worked during the summer are submitted and gets paid in the fall.
Correct.
My recollections, it's always been that way. I can't tell you what the contract was like for Clyde Shoemake. He was here from like 2000 to 2005.
Well, Aaron, I don't recall, at least in my time on the board, where we ever rolled it into anything being on a salary. As a matter of fact, I think we still always kept it at.
So then it's not getting like doubled up somehow?
Correct. I don't believe we've ever done that because, there's years where we have significantly less during the summer.
Right.
That's my recollection.
The only adjustment to the contract that has occurred is, and I can't tell you which years, I want to say it was in 2009, 2011, one of those years. We actually were making some budget cuts, and the contract was cut, and that contract was reinstated. It was cut by 2 weeks. Her contract is actually 2 weeks before school, 2 weeks after school is the tech coordinator's contract, and it was cut to 1 week, just for cuts.
Because if my memory serves me correctly, we've also tried to get more students to come in during the summer, also to fill in some of those hours. We've had that discussion in the years past, because I think there's also been a question that they weren't necessarily looking to want to do that much work during the summer. And so I know, my memory serves me correctly, 2 or 3 years ago, I think we discussed trying to get more students to come in to set everything up. But then the issue was with some of the students, whether or not they had the abilities, and there was issues with.
So if they're not doing it right, I mean.
Yeah, and then it's
make
just
more
making more
work.
problems, correct. But I do know that this is an issue that has come up before, but it's a matter of how much we have to set up every summer. I don't think we're paying this this is definitely post hours. That's at least my understanding.
Yeah, computer-wise, there's a lot of things that she does over the summer, and like you said, Tom, setting up, it's more of a demand now than it was a few years ago.
And that's fine, I was just, it was
Yeah,
brought to
no.
my attention that
Yep.
they,
It's fair.
so we're double paying or something.
Yeah.
That, if you don't know what the hours, it's hard to lump it in. She had a 10-month contract.
It's 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after the school year, so it's approximately a 10-month contract. And so these hours would occur after the 2 weeks when school is done and prior to the 2 weeks before school starts.
Any other discussion on temporary salaries?
We've got the summer weight room hours there. Do we not have a full-time weight room person?
We do not.
He left.
And nobody, we didn't fill it after he left.
We've not had anybody jump to that. I have talked with our athletic director about whether or not he's been able to find somebody yet to fill that position, and I know he was trying to come up with ideas. And I did see these individuals down there filling in for weight room hours this summer.
Is he the one coordinating that schedule with all those people?
I don't know how they did the schedule this summer, but I do know that just by what we're paying, it was significantly less amount of time we had with supervision in the weight room this summer than what we've had the last couple of years.
I mean, right now is when we need them. Football season's over and basketball doesn't start for 6-8 weeks.
Correct. Correct.
So what are the hours you want someone there? If you had a-
So I believe when we had Mr. Tobin there, he was showing up at about 0600.
Every day?
Every day, Monday through Friday, and there till probably 08. He would leave, get back here to school, whatever time it was, and then he was there after school. If it was not a practice, for football, basketball, or whatever the season was, I think from 3:30 till 6, 5:30, right around there. So there was a significant weight room presence when he was doing that position.
I think we need to get it out there more, that we have this position, it's open, and, I mean, that's a long stretch here for some of the kids that are waiting till basketball.
Tobin was
The rest-
developing the program.
Well, that was separate.
That was a
Separate program. He did a deal on it.
Okay, so this,
Right, so during the school year, he came in, every morning, Monday through Friday. I mean, he was there 6 o'clock in the morning till 8. And then he was there in the afternoons. That was his position here at the school. Then during the summer, he did run his own additional program, but he carried over the time that he was there anyway.
with half a dozen people, you're not gonna develop a program.
No, you gotta get somebody that's gonna be ahead of it. No question.
Let's just get the word out there. We have a paid position open for a weight room supervisor. And in my opinion, we need to get one hired.
Agreed. All right, any other discussion on the temporary salaries? All in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve delegate assembly. Thank you, Aaron. Second?
Second.
Discussion? Larry, you just want to take it again, dude. We're just going to avoid the whole conversation.
Well, it's not a mandatory attendance.
Correct. It is good. I did go to it and I enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
I've gone.
I've been once.
Yeah, it's good. But I can't be there that day. All right, anybody else want it? I got, you good, Larry? Larry, we're not even gonna vote on it. Thanks, Larry. That's just good. Larry's doing his community service that day.
But
Motion
if you
to,
don't have anything to do that, it is a good thing to go to. I thought it was fun.
it is good. The year I went was the year that they were gonna not do the pledge anymore.
I think, did I go?
No, that was just me, and then I got fired up, and we shot that down pretty good. So it's kind of my Animal House moment. You quit when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? No, everybody was following me out the doors. Who's this guy from Webster? Because that Sioux Falls crew. It was a Sioux Falls crew that was pretty big on that. So, all right, motion to approve supplemental budget 1-10-23.
So moved.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you, Aaron. Discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Do you know what Armory Neptune is? I was going to ask that.
No.
Okay?
Should I?
No, neither do I. We'll ask Lori when she gets back. It has to be something, I'm guessing, some type of computer program.
The only thing that I think it could be is the automated system to get in.
Oh, that's right, because that was down. That's correct.
And that was just installed yesterday,
That was down for a while. Okay?
but I don't know if that's what it's called.
Okay. That makes
Oh,
sense.
for the armory, yeah, that does.
Okay. Motion to approve surplus property.
So
Second?
Second.
Discussion?
what's a 1947 spotlight?
That 1947 spotlight is a spotlight that didn't we all use that we were here in Webster that's big, black, and gets to about 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit when you turn it on, and they used it for all of the plays and concerts. Is that not what we're thinking of, Jim, from the 1947 spotlight?
Probably, why are we surplusing it if it still works? I don't know.
Is it an antique here?
Collector's item, yeah. Collector's item.
Yeah, antique or?
Is this from the Army or is it?
No, it just said spotlight, and I think
I'm
it's,
guessing it's something we haven't used and hasn't worked for quite some time.
that's just what I figured it was. Again, we can ask Lori when she gets back, but, well, you know what, Larry? Put a bid in and you can own it. Just think about what you can do with your neighbors in the morning. That thing had a lot of kilowatt power. I mean, you could, matter of fact, I might just put a bid on that. Put a portable generator, drive around town. All right, motion to, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the annual contract with Kiwanis for the concession stand. Thank you, Aaron. Second? Discussion?
There was, at one point, I'm not on the executive board for Kiwanis, but there was some discussion apparently within that organization to negotiate the terms of this, and I think that's why it's been delayed so long. And I had asked them if they had anything to discuss or proposals or whatever, never did get anything, so I'm just giving you an FYI that there was at least some discussion.
Who is the president of Kiwanis with that signature?
Katie Marks.
Oh, okay. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Motion to discuss the deed issue.
So moved.
Thanks, Aaron, second.
Second.
Yeah, about time. Thanks, Joel. Discussion. You know, I don't see was the email from John Knight, the state's attorney, included in the packet? I don't remember seeing it.
I did not see it.
And I did not bring it. Do you have it?
See if I can find it.
Because we really need that to discuss this appropriately. Bottom line is, and I'm not sure how this came up, but one thing I want to be clear, for some reason the urban legend in the community is that we knew we did not own that acre of land and we still went forward with the bids. That's the dumbest thing, I'm sorry. We absolutely thought we owned it, otherwise we wouldn't have advertised it for bids. It was presented to us by the landowner in that area, who I believe had received title insurance that said they needed to clean that
That
thing
is
up.
correct.
You know, we did not go looking for these old school plots. That is not what this board does. Well, what they did when they found we advertised, we received a bid. Then I believe somebody else went back and did a more thorough title search. And did you find the email, Jim?
I found the actual title, the warranty deed record it's called.
Yeah, let me see.
You want the email
In
too?
1923, I believe, when that deed originally transferred this land to the school district. Yep. Do you mind if I blow it up? If you can make it a little bigger.
Just squint harder.
Yeah, I squint really hard. There you go. I know down to it. Okay.
Is this the
It-
land that we just,
Yes. It said, and the deed specifically has this provision in it that says, and the above tract and school site is conveyed for school site purposes only, comma, and in the event at any time in the future the school site should be changed and the premises not be used for school site purposes by the grantee or its successors, that then in that event, upon the abandonment for school site, the above described lands shall immediately revert to and become a part of the original tract of the Northwest Quarter, Section 26, 120-55. And that was signed in 1923, I believe.
1926.
1926. So that,
So the title insurance, the original title insurance company missed that note.
somebody did.
Revision clause.
Reversion, yeah,
Oh.
yep, reversion. You know, somebody did. I mean, we weren't in possession of that deed. We do not spend taxpayer funds,
We were at one point in possession.
not
No,
that,
No,
not that deed. Well, sure, in 1926 we were.
Right.
But this board never went back and researched and did our own title search
Right.
when we were given that. Yeah,
the buyer came to the board and asked,
not the buyer, but the landowner surrounding
Adjacent.
that property. The adjacent landowner came to us, yes.
We do
the
not know.
adjacent landowner also bought this piece of property around.
Well,
that.
I think so at some point in
And
time,
originally, he assumed that was all part of it.
I believe, I'm not
That's
sure what, yeah.
That's what he said. He didn't realize until the title company said, that's who brought that up.
Yeah.
Question.
Bottom line, it was not the school district. And we're not gonna spend taxpayer dollars. We most certainly would not try to sell something we don't own. I mean, that's just dumb. And so I wanna make sure that's out there. When I heard that, I was a little disappointed that that would even come up. If we were in possession of that 1926 deed, it would be clear. So, bottom line, after reviewing that deed, the Dade County State's Attorney stopped in my office. I explained to him, I am not the school attorney, I'm the school board president. Rodney Freeman is the school attorney. He just thought it was me, But bottom line is, what we just need to do as a school district is to quit claim any interest we have in that parcel back to the adjacent landowner to follow the original northwest quarter. That's the legal answer. That's what he asked if we would do. And I said I would bring it to the school board. I believe he is correct. So what we need from the board is whether or not we want to have a motion to authorize the execution of a quitclaim deed to transfer the original school site back to the northwest quarter as described within that deed. Thank you. Second? Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
We need to do a second motion, or not a second, but a second vote for the original motion on this discussion item.
Nah, we're good. Close enough. Motion to discuss or approve the procurement plan.
So moved.
Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Did I forget an additional contract to approve there, Jim?
I think we have a contract for custodial.
Okay, sorry about that. Let me just find where we're at. Okay, motion to approve the contract for Corey Braun for custodial staff.
So moved.
Thank you, Joel. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Larry. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, discussion items. Dr. Block, Superintendent Report.
Try to take notes while I'm doing this. First item that I have is we had parent-teacher conferences a week ago. Well, it'll be a week ago this coming Thursday, 2 weeks ago. Conferences for the elementary is still very well attended. They're typically by appointment. Attendance at the secondary level, I wish we had some other method or version, and perhaps it's not well attended because the communication that exists nowadays is so much more convenient. Parents can see grades on a daily basis, live basis, and so perhaps that's maybe it. But I've always, for many years, I've just had a little bit of a disappointment in the number of conferences that we see. Our secondary folks, if they see 15 out of 75 kids, that's a great night, which is really kind of believable. And so I don't know how to overcome that, and I don't have a solution for a different process, but nonetheless, we will continue to do conferences and encouraging parents to communicate regularly with the teachers and vice versa as needed.
Jim, do you think that's just because the parents are okay with things?
I think so, to an extent, yeah.
Some don't care.
Well, there's some that don't care, but the ones that we want to get here, but realistically, I think that, I think a lot of the parents, if they're happy, they don't show.
I think some of the parents, the ones that we want to see might be working 2 jobs. And they may not be working that night, but they might be exhausted. And I'm not trying to make excuses, but there's a lot of life issues in some cases. We tend to say that we see the parents that we don't need to see. They're the ones that come in. And we do see some that kids are having challenges in school and their parents do show up, but it's generally the ones that we see are the ones that are involved, and that's kind of probably why the kids are doing better. So, for whatever reason, there are some parents that have difficulties getting in. It might be work, it might be stress, it might be family situations, but it's just one of the things we have to deal with as a society.
And I think there's a fair amount of people too that think things are going well. Maybe their children have good grades and they feel like there's a problem, that teacher's going to reach out to them, they'll let the teacher teach. If there's an issue, they'll get over it.
Yeah, Dr. Block, and I encourage that too with our staff members. If there's something that's not going right, or try to reach out and visit with the parents to hopefully get things right.
Next item is the school report card, and I'll let Mr. Case discuss a little bit about this, but we do have targeted assistance in 2 areas that I briefly mentioned at our board meeting last month. And so they've started that process as a committee. There's, I think, 3-4 people.
4 on the committee. It's Natalie Baum, Amy Knudsen, and Pam Bauer, and myself will be on the committee. We've already gone down to Sioux Falls, and they are educating us about a comprehensive needs assessment. So you'll see acronyms SD, CNA, and we'll have to educate our teachers about that also. Anyhow, what that consists of is, sounds like a lot of work to us, but yet it's some surveys, we'll get some feedback from the teachers, from the para, actually from all the staff members. And we're just gonna hone in on some areas that we need to improve on, specifically with the 2 areas that we got dinged on a little bit where we need to improve, which is attendance and English language arts in the middle school. And attendance is specifically in the elementary.
They're both in subgroups. And
Yeah.
to be a subgroup, you have to have a minimum of 10 students in that particular category, and so we have 2 subgroups that we're working with. I will say that typically, we don't even see enough students in these particular subgroups to be categorized, to be accountable for. So it's not the worst thing in the world for us to have enough students in a subgroup, because it's making us kind of focus on an area that we otherwise may not look at. Yeah.
So, yeah, anyhow, with the CNA, we've lined up a date. There's actually 2 of the educators that educated us, our group down in Sioux Falls. They will be coming in November 8th, and they will be doing some interviews with some of our teachers. And we have a teacher focus group that they'll be visiting with. And then they'll come away with some data for us to go over. And then they have a step-by-step process for us, for our group to follow. So it seems to be all laid out. It's a lot of paperwork, but yet the group and myself, we're looking at it, Dr. Block and others, it's an area where we can look at some data, reflect on things, get some feedback, and maybe make some adjustments and improve how we're going to move forward. Not only in those subgroup areas that Dr. Block was talking about, but maybe other areas that we can improve on also. So the Department of Ed puts this on, and it's kind of mainly for those schools that have subgroup areas or that need a little improvement, but yet it's also open to some school districts that just want to do the comprehensive needs assessment. I know there's one group from Watertown, it might be 2, I'm not sure. I don't think they're on an assistance plan, but they just want to do it to help their school out. So it's always been open to us in the past to do that. So I think it'll be a good thing. So it'll be a year-long process here, and we move into the following years, from what I understand also. So we'll be giving you some more feedback in regards to how that process is going as we go along.
Next item I have is the personnel record forms. This is the report that I have to do at the beginning of every year. Basically, about each teacher is teaching, the number of pairs that we have, kitchen staff, those types of things. The thing that comes out of the personnel record form, two things that are important is we do have some that are non-certified, and that's, you guys are aware of that because we've hired teachers on alternative certification plans. And so they will show up in that particular report, and we have to submit what's called a plan of intent for the folks that are not certified. And then the other thing that comes out of this is the data that we share has to be as accurate as possible, because this is where the state uses this data to determine our accountability for our teacher, the average teacher salaries and things like that. So it's kind of a big and important report. And so I've already submitted it for this year. I think it's due this on the 17th, but it's one that I've been doing for 20 plus years because I did it when I was in Henry. So it's something I try to get done quickly in the fall each year. The next item I have is a Career Tech Ed and Innovative Equipment Grant. currently working on that. I do have some folks that I'm hoping to get some letters of support from this week. I've sent out requests and had a conversation with folks. And then the 3 CTE teachers that I'm working with is our fax teacher, our welding and architect and construction teacher, possibly get a plasma cutter, and then our multimedia teacher regarding like a printer that would allow us to maybe do some banners and posters, a little bit more of a commercial type stuff. So we're putting that grant together. I have to look at the total cost, or not total cost, but total amount. The grants can be $100,000 up to $250,000. And so obviously we'll max what we can, but I want to make sure that it's a strong as possible grant. I will be meeting with somebody from the Parent Tech Ed office via Zoom today regarding questions that I have with respect to the grant itself. But it's due November 1st, and so I hope to get it submitted possibly by the end of next week.
Jim, while you're on the topic of CTE, I was speaking with somebody in the community, and they were talking about what we're doing with our CTE program and the new building, and just talking about how there's a lot of opportunities, career opportunities in that field, and one of them being just anything from engines, small engines, and how a lot of young folks today don't know how to put together, take apart a small engine. I'm 51. I can't touch a small engine. I have somebody, I go pay somebody to do that. But what he was saying was that he believes that there's opportunities where people in town would like to have, that are business owners, maybe bring in some of their small engines or engines that borderline, not brand new, but can be fixed, maybe don't work, but you can't wreck it, donate it. Let people start tearing into them. Is there an opportunity we could put together for some type of students within our CTE program? And I'm not saying this has to be done next week or month, but let's put that on our radar screen, see if there's something we can do. And we have, because I thought we still had a little extra space in the building there. Maybe there's something we can reach out with our current programs to have, you know, if people want to, again, working with local business owners, individuals that have the knowledge, maybe they could come in and offer their expertise for short periods of time during the year, bring in small engines. I mean, just open up the ideas to that.
Small engines right now, that is part of one of our ag classes, and I'm pretty certain that the small engines that we currently have, we probably got about 10 or 12 of them. They were all purchased through grants. And they're like brand new engines, and so what they do is they completely disassemble them and reassemble them to get them to go. So we're sort of doing that already in one of the classes. I think it's the ag mechanics class. Not to shoot your idea down, but some of this is communication as to what we're currently doing and what
I
we're going to be
think
doing.
I'm going to go out and say it, and I know this isn't going to be a real popular statement, but we do offer some of these things, but with our current scheduling, the opportunities aren't there for the kids to partake in all of these things, because we do the block schedule. And back when I was in high school, when you were in high school, you know, you had more opportunities throughout the day. You had 8 periods, and you got 7 of them. Now we have 4 periods. They only give 3 periods to choose from. So that's what makes it difficult.
Okay.
In my opinion. I think it's a great idea, and I think, you know, if we talk to our CTE instructors, and we can try to make something happen there.
Interesting. Well, it just was brought up, and I thought, yeah, I'll bring it up to the school board meeting. I thought it was a good idea. Because we basically said, look, if we're donating it, we can't wreck it. You know, and sometimes you learn more from wrecking stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you know where that could be more powerful? Not in the high school setting, but in the middle school or later elementary years, to get them young minds thinking about that stuff. That's where it could be impactful.
Okay.
Right.
The next item that I had is the ACT summary. This is something that you guys have, and we normally give you a little bit of a summary at the fall, and it was reminded of us last month. I put it on, it's on a half sheet that I provided to you. We'll give one of these to Amanda. Currently, our senior group, they're the juniors that are listed on this. As you can see, it's an academically strong class. We've seen some increases in our ACT averages with some of the students that are currently going through high school right now. And so school year 21-22, you can see the 22 juniors took the ACT with a 25.1 super score average. Now the difference between what a score is, there's a composite score and a super score. It used to be composite score was based on how they calculate an actual score overall for the ACT. Now the super score is based on the highest sub-scores. And so, for instance, if I took the ACT and I scored a 22 on the science and certain numbers in the math, and I got a composite that was determined however they calculated, that's what I got. And then the next time that I took the test, if my science score went down and I did so well on the other stuff, then I got a composite score for that. You can only use the highest composite score. Now what they do is they have what's called a super score, where if you take the test 3 times, the highest science score gets used for your composite. The highest math score gets used for your composite, and so on. And so the super score technically is, I don't want to say inflated, but it's basically a higher score than what a composite could potentially be, because they're taking the highest score in each subtest. I don't know how that's changed anything at the college level or anything like that, but I do know one thing that has changed is the super scores being used for the opportunity scholarship. So we should have more students with the opportunity scholarship, just for that simple reason. We should.
But everybody's scoring the same way, so everybody across the board, if they're also, everybody's scores should be going.
Yes.
So you're in competition with everybody, so.
You know, I mean, look, the
But our
difference,
composite score of 25
25 is
is
still
still pretty
composite.
darn good.
what they basically say is a super score. If you're a 32, or excuse me, if you're a 24 on the science, you're probably gonna be a 24 on science, steady Eddie, you know, all through. If you've got just somebody that's an outlier with on a test, you know, they just have a bad day in English, and then the next day they come in there, you know, they're a 17 one day, but the next time they're in at a 21. That's when it's raising the super score on. It's not taking the person that's, you know, your really good areas and then just keep it increasing. So if you have a bad day in an area, if that makes sense.
I do believe it can give the kids the opportunity to increase their score. If they focus on a subtest specifically,
Right.
they can get that,
Weakness.
hopefully get a higher one, and then the next time they take it, if they wanted to focus on a different subtest, it's possible. The reality is the kids that have taken the ACT multiple times, they're typically doing something to get more prepared than they were the previous test, which is a good thing. And so,
This to me is a big deal, and you know, Amanda, if you could put more in the Reporter and Farmer on this, because I don't think that most of our constituents or folks know about it. I mean, this goes back to when Jamie Reeds was on the board. Our composite average was around a 19 to 20 at that point in time.
yep.
And the South Dakota Opportunity Scholarships, just from the state of South Dakota, if you get a 21 to 24, that's $5,000 over 4 years. If you get a 24 to 27, it's $7,000 over your 4 years. A 27, it goes to $11,000, and then if you get over a 28 or a 30 or above, it's $12,000. And that's just from the state.
That's a
Pretty much.
non-competitive scholarship,
Correct.
meaning if you meet the criteria, you get it.
You get it automatically, 12,000 if you can get up to that higher number. Then the colleges have followed in suit because they're trying to attract those type of students. And so SDSU, USD, all of your in-state schools are offering significant amounts if you can get these good ACT scores. We did our research and we tried to do something to get our ACT scores up. And we still have the On to College program, which every student has access to from what grades? 7 through 12? 7 through 12. Every student has access to it. If you ask parents about it, they'll be like, never heard of it. Trust me, your kids have. Now they may think it's boring, but it makes a difference. We did our research. Scott Hansen graduated from Webster. He's an administrator in Minnesota. swears by this program. We've purchased it, and we pay, I think, $5,000 a year.
It's not that much.
Yeah, it's $5,000 a year, so that every student can have access to this program, grades 7 through 12. Well, if just one student is able to move their number from 24 to 25, or 20 to 21, just even to get into that range, we've paid for it for everybody, for the whole entire program. Bottom line is, a 25 for an average for that class. Yeah, I hope that stays that way. Maybe that class is just a little bit more high achievers, but that's an excellent average ACT score. And that also has to come back too with who our staff is. And if we're realistically looking at what the most important thing is here, it's educating people. You only get one chance at a free education. And 25, I'm very proud of that. Thanks to our staff, and please let them know. That's impressive. People should know that. Nice job.
Thanks. Unless you have questions for me regarding any other options or topics, that's what I have.
We talk a lot about sports, but a 25 average ACT score, that's a big deal. All right. Thanks, Dr. Block. Principal report, Mr. Case.
I just have a couple of things to share. This past summer, a bunch of us, through World Classrooms, went on a trip to Washington, D.C. and New York. So they're actually, World Classrooms out of Aberdeen will be starting that process again for the next trip for 7th and 8th graders. So Mrs. Larson, who went on the trip, and I went on the trip, we will be talking to them next Monday, talking to the 7th and 8th grade group. And then World Classrooms will come back on that following Monday, October 24th. And for those that are interested, student-wise, they'll have a Zoom meeting for parents to talk about the upcoming trip, which will be not this summer, but the following summer. So it gives them time to accumulate some money to pay for the trip. And Dr. Block, myself, Mrs. Larson, going on that trip, World Classrooms, they do an excellent job. So any of those parents wondering about it can call and ask us about the trip, if anything. But they do a super job of educating the parents. So those that are interested should view that Zoom session coming up the 24th. And then we'll show the video to the kids on the 17th. So that'll be up and coming.
So Craig, they'll have to do a little fundraising to pay for.
There's no group fundraising for that. It's totally up to the parents and how they want to earn
Typically,
money.
just put it on a payment plan.
Yeah, or it's payment plan on a credit card. And then it's up to the parents as to, okay, got to go earn some money.
I've got an idea. Maybe, when school gets out, one of the first things that going back to our janitorial staff, what they've got to do is, put all the lockers in the middle of the hallway so that they can do their painting. And isn't there a lot of work that goes in the spring region?
Yeah.
And to clean. Let's hire some kids. Go and earn some money and go on a trip. Here we go.
Shovel the sidewalks.
There we go.
There's opportunities to earn money.
Definitely, yeah. So they do a great job. They get it started, so they gives the kids time to earn some money to go on that trip. So hopefully we have a big group going again here in a couple of years. Coming up this Friday, we have our in-service in Florence. We have a bunch of different breakout sessions for the staff to attend. It's just our certified staff that are going to it this Friday. So our paraprofessionals will not be going to this. So I haven't really looked at detail at the brochure yet, but usually some good breakout sessions, and what we tell our staff, if you go and get a couple of things that you learn from an in-service like that, it's usually good. And then we have a guest speaker too, don't we, Jim? I'm not sure who the guest speaker is.
He's with the South Dakota National Guard. I can't remember his name.
So anyhow, that's this Friday. And otherwise, things are going pretty well so far. It's cool.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Case. NESC.
I was not able to attend either the superintendent's meeting or Nancy said, maybe on the evenings.
Board meeting it was really short. I'd say 30 minutes a meeting and an hour executive session. But it was very routine, so there was any significance besides normal activities.
Okay. Thank you. Buildings and grounds.
Midwest Boilers was here last week. I actually just received the invoice yesterday regarding the work that they did. As far as I know, nobody has spoken to me about it, but as far as I know, the boiler will be ready to be fired up if we need to, the big boiler. And so they're still working on some boiler stuff. This one, we had our construction meeting a week ago today. My understanding is there's an electrical panel that they're still waiting to install for the boiler room, the new boiler room. And when they can get that installed, then they should be able to start looking at firing some things up. The boilers are there.
They've been guaranteeing us
Yeah.
we'll be operating.
There's not been any hesitation or delay with the dates, so they're still looking at sometime in early November, which is in a couple of weeks already.
Yeah.
To get that up and running. CTE project, the south part, and Joel, you can chime in, this Webster schedule. Footings and foundation have been poured for most of it. As I understand it, we will see a block masonry person come and start doing some of the block wall stuff. And then the precast, I believe, is going to still happen yet this fall.
Yes.
Because they've got what they need
Precast.
for rafters and roofing and everything else.
Steel was gonna be in the way.
Yeah, steel.
Precast was February, right?
The precast is February.
On that.
Okay. So I think the classroom portion, we will see some walls going up within the next month.
I think it's their goal, the masonry for sure, so that when the rafters come, they can set them and be inside working for the winter. I thought the precast was going in too, but I'm not sure.
We haven't picked.
Yeah, we haven't
She
picked
brought
colors.
us samples, and she was gonna bring samples the next meeting again.
Yeah.
She was having problems with that red rock.
They're trying to match the colors, to, figure out the color scheme with the building. Do you try to match, miss? So you go to a little different color. And we asked for a sample with some red rock in it. And they're evidently having some troubles getting red rock down there in Sioux Falls, but she was gonna try it again and add some red rock to the mixed design, just so we could look at it.
Let's see. So how much fill was actually hauled in already? How many feet deep?
It depends. The west end of the pad was about 6 feet deep, and as we went east, it got to be about 12 feet deep. As per the geotech report, we had to, go down to hit virgin clay, essentially, good hard material, and as we progressed east, the fill kept getting deeper and deeper. So yeah, there's about 12 foot fill.
So is there any concerns with being the footings or in all that new fill? I mean, there's no settling issues?
No. There was, as per the geotech report, we also had to get 2 feet below the footing with engineered fill. Well, we obviously well exceeded that, just trying to get down to that good solid base. So, no, the sand that was used was specified. It's a special manufactured sand that had to be used, and they tested the daylights out. A lot of testing happened. So that is why it took just a touch longer. It was quite a bit more fill than we had anticipated.
Any other questions regarding the new facility or the boiler room? The only other thing that I had.
I should just clarify, because I got hit up by a couple people at the football game yesterday. I just want to clarify that we are still targeting the November fire update for the new boiler, which will heat this facility.
It will heat the facility we're sitting in as well as the middle school. And then the old boiler needs to be in place and still functioning for the steam heat of the 50s wing.
Of the old 1950s one.
And so that is something we will need to address a year from now, is Will the 50s wing be cold storage, will it be torn down? And those are decisions that have to be made possibly publicly, depending on what that costs are incurred. And so the old boiler may still be needed if we choose to continue to have that building and or keep that building in future years beyond this next school year.
Yes.
The other thing that I had was the Johnson Controls. We have a new representative that comes from Johnson Controls. The guy that used to come has since retired, and Mr. Case and I met with the guy. He's actually a former teacher, I think in the Del Rapids school system, and somehow
Principal too.
somehow as a teacher / administrator, he ended up doing some work with Johnson Controls and probably GNR out of Sioux Falls with respect to their HVAC systems, and it was just intriguing to him, and so he left the education field to go work for Johnson Controls. He kind of proposed to us that he's not into the big, huge service contracts that we typically would see. If you guys can recall service contracts, normally we would see about a $30,000, $40,000 service contract for our K-12 facility for changing filters and different things like that. And historically, this particular board, as well as previous boards, has pretty much said, we're not interested in that kind of cost for that type of maintenance. And so we haven't said yes to those things. I would like more of a cafeteria type service contract. And so what I asked him is if he could put something together where we maybe have a quote on what it costs to have the big large chiller, which is a very expensive piece of equipment, make sure that that's getting cleaned properly and maintained properly. If our custodians can do it, great, we'll continue to do it. If we're not doing what we should be, let's see what it costs to have Johnson Controls do it. We have filters on the roof of the elementary, we have filters in the music room that are, you have to be a contortionist and have some interesting equipment to get into the places, and our custodians don't have the ability to do it very conveniently. So I would like to know what it would cost to have Johnson Controls to do some of those more difficult tasks with filter changing. We'll still change all the other filters, but the ones that are challenging to do. And so I kind of walk through the building and talk to each of the custodians to say, okay, what are some of the things that you got to do with changing filters, maintaining HVAC systems, things like that are really challenging, that you really get frustrated with. And so that's kind of how we put our list together. And eventually he's going to get us a plan and come up with, he walked through the building with me for about 2 hours last week. And so he's going to come up with some service plans for us. But we can maybe pick and choose. And so I think it'd be kind of in the same line that you were talking, Joel. We're looking at what we have for custodial staff, where can we help, and what can we have taken care of that maybe we shouldn't be doing ourselves anyway. So, more to come on that.
Okay. Anything else on buildings and ground? All right. Next board meeting is November, we got that date?
14.
14th? Okay. Monday, November 14th. That will be all we have then. Then we have a motion to move into executive session. Legal counsel?
So moved.